Time once again for a little day drinking and tarot. I'm Stacy, the Black Feather Intuitive, and today our card lends itself to a little ritual and routine. So I'm starting the day off at my favorite mani-pedi salon and getting my toes done by Tony, and then we're going to explore a brand new wine bar that I'm really excited to try. So come on and join me. Let's talk a little tarot and transformation. So Tony is doing a fabulous job on my toes right about now, and I'm super pumped about the massage I'm about to get. I hear that he is incredible. So we are starting off our day drinking and tarot in just the right way. So I am here at the Greedy Hamster, and this is a really cool, kind of like, got a bit of a divey bar feel to it, but the wine list is incredible, and I can't wait to check it out. So let's talk some tarot, get a little day drinking in, and be in that space of transformation and see how the Greedy Hamster is going to help me with that. The Greedy Hamster has turned out to be a really fun, funky place. Totally irreverent names for all of their wines, and almost like a fuck you to anything that is standard and normal. And I think it's really funny because the card that I've chosen today to talk about is from it's the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is actually staunch tradition and very much all about the ritual of things. It's about the dogma of religion or religious tenets, and it is about limiting beliefs. And there's also I want to say, a more modern version or a modern take on it, which is that it can be the guide. It's your inner guide and how you're listening to yourself, how you're learning to break with tradition in order to be able to establish new traditions. And so, coming to the Greedy Hamster and doing this, I think it's brilliant because I'm going to be honest with you guys. The Hierophant card is one of those cards for me that took me a long time to kind of get to know it, to understand it, and to really kind of realize how it can work for me rather than against me. And so being in this place of irreverence while I'm talking about this, very reverent card is ironic. It's very fitting. So I absolutely love it. Talking about the Hierophant, of course, you guys know if you've been watching my journey, divining a VIP life here with Black Feather Couture. I'm going around to all of the different places in Arizona to find out how I can blend my two biggest passions, day drinking and tarot. And I met an incredible bartendress named Trish, and she was a really good sport about picking out a really great glass of wine to identify the Hierophant. And she, of course, wasn't too keen on being on camera, but she was really great when I was telling her about the characteristics of this particular card. And she's like, oh, I know the one right away. So what they do here at this place is they rename all of their wines. And so this isn't actually what the bottle of wine is called. I think it's called Gen X or Gen E, something like that. But what they call it is Vinum Sacrum, and it's sacred wine. And it's an old vine Zin. And I have to tell you guys, Zins are really not my jam. although you would think it would be, because they're, nice, full-bodied, red, all the rest of it. But when I do like a zin, it usually is from an old vine varietal rather than the New World zin. And so let's give this Vinum Sacrum a taste. Oh, this is actually surprising. And I think this is important to talk about with the Hierophant, because when I finally started to really connect with the Hierophant energy, it was surprising to me, because I was so, I want to say it kind of repulsed me a little bit, or it repelled me, not repulsed me, it repelled me, because it was very much that religious component rather than that spiritual component. And, I'm just not a religious person. I believe that, we all kind of have to beat to the tune of our own drum. And the Hierophant suggests otherwise. Here is the way that you need to do things in order to be able to be this, that, or the other thing. And so, I was really not into it. But I'm really liking this wine because it's got a little bit of a surprise. Yeah, it's got that spicy bite that a zin tends to have. It is earthy and more mineral in nature, which is definitely something that is more foundational, more solid in its approach. But it also has some really delicious berries in it. And I feel like everything has its purpose. And so even if I might not feel really strongly about the tenets of the Hierophant, or like the Pope kind of energy, what I like about this is not everything is all bad, right? It's not about the extremes. And that's what this Old Vine Zin is doing for me, is not focusing on the extremes, the limiting beliefs here. It's kind of stretching me outside the box a little bit and saying, hey, there is something a little bit important about those traditions. And maybe now it's about expanding your limiting beliefs to incorporate some other options. So here is to the Hierophant. Let's talk about the Hierophant in relation to a transformative journey, and of course always speaking from my own particular journey. This was one that I struggled to kind of figure out what or how this card was influencing me. And it really came down to, for me, recognizing that this move that I made to Arizona really stretched me outside of the box of my limiting beliefs in just about every kind of way. I am a person, I'm the Phoenix. I have like 2 Phoenix tattoos on my body. I've always loved, the area of Phoenix, traveled here all over the place, knew that I'd like to live here anyway at some point, but never really actually had the opportunity to kind of make it stick. And a lot of that was connected to and tied to previous experiences that I had with the Phoenix area, with leaping too soon, with not honoring divine timing, with making the leap with the intention of, I want to say, living out the geographical cure, which of course never works if you're trying to move somewhere in order to avoid your life in, this area or this space. I want to say wherever you go, there you are. And I don't know if I ever shared this with you guys at all or not, but many, many years ago in my 20s, shortly after I had first visited Arizona and fell in love with it so much, I ended up having a bit of a crisis of faith, a crisis of identity, and was singing opera, and was in a space and a place where my opera career was I'll say the rejection was just so much, and I was kind of having a bit of a mental breakdown. And so I thought, oh my God, I have to figure this out. This one area that I've been focusing on is not panning out, and things are turning out badly. I need to have a plan B. And so I applied to be a flight attendant with America West, an airline that no longer exists. I believe it bought out United Airlines, if I'm not mistaken, or US Airways, which I think is now Delta. Anyway, however that goes, talking about transformations, the airline industry is perfect for that. And I lived out here and moved out here for a couple of months with the intention of being a flight attendant and doing my thing. And in the end, even though I had done all of my checks and balances, I hadn't done it far enough, and had problems with immigration and being able to actually work here as a flight attendant, because I was working here under a different work visa. And the long and short of it was I was ripped away from Arizona and that experience. And at the time I was completely, utterly devastated. It took me a couple of years to kind of, not just this was a part of, a lot of different things that were going on in my life, but this was, I want to say, the catalyst. And it just ripped me into, sort of back into an old life that, quite frankly, wherever you go, there you are, I needed to heal from. And that affected me. And even though I healed from it and I understand it all and I know the reason why, it wasn't the right timing for me to be out here, what it also did is it kind of solidified in my mind that Arizona was a bit of this like elusive dream, or the thing that I really wanted to live, but was nervous to actually make the steps to have it happen. Because what if the same thing happens over again? What if something stops me from being able to, what if I move there like I did last time and I suddenly have to move back? There's some reason why. And I did not realize how much that tradition, that foundation was affecting my limiting beliefs, my beliefs around what I could do in my life and where I could go and how I could make those things happen. And it was very subconscious, because the Hierophant, when we're talking about that Hierophant energy, the Hierophant is about that structure and tradition, the things that we don't always question because we were raised to believe this or that or the other thing, and it was never, never something to question necessarily. And so this move, when all of the stuff went down and I was faced with, okay, you got 60 days to find a new place, and I knew that I was just dead inside in North Carolina. I love North Carolina. North Carolina loves me, but it was time. We had outstayed our welcome in each other's lives, right? And it was time for me to move, but I just felt stuck. I felt frozen. I didn't know what to do because I was being influenced by this is how it's always been done, or this is the tradition of things, or there's a fear there that if you break with tradition, you're going to get punished. Things aren't going to go the way that you want them to go. And the biggest limiting belief for me was I don't have enough money to make this move. And I'm here to tell you right now, if you haven't watched my previous episodes, definitely watch them, because you'll get the story of how things transpired. But I can tell you, I got here, even though I didn't have the kind of money that I thought I needed. I'll say to you that some of it was on credit, absolutely. Some of it was, I want to say, resourced interestingly. It was kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul, and I've got money for this, and then okay, now the next flood of money's coming in, and so I can take care of that. Not the Stacy control freak way of doing things, but I want to say to you, I'm here. And there was a lot of divine order and divine timing around it. There was a lot of, I want to say, dream team support, dream team help. And it also helped me to get out of this idea that I shouldn't ask anyone else for help, because when I ask people for help, they say no. And so I don't know if that's necessarily a Hierophant thing, but that was definitely a Stacy thing, a Stacy lesson. And so I feel like what the Hierophant has really been showing me throughout this particular transformative journey is that I'm here to break with tradition. I'm here to understand where I come from that traditional perspective, and recognize where it's continuing to serve me and where it no longer serves me, and that it's okay for me to release that, to let that go, and to open myself up to all of the potentials and the possibilities out there. And most importantly, to open up to what my heart and my soul really desire, and to give myself permission to get out of my own way. my linear thinking. It has to look a certain way, otherwise it's not going to happen. That is a limiting belief. So the Hierophant today, I feel, is teaching me and has the ability to teach all of you how to get out of your own way. It's giving yourself permission to examine where you might have a belief that maybe you've never questioned it ever at all. And now is the time to question those things. You know, I like to say this is a period of time that we are in right now where it is time to explore reinventing the wheel. Because how do you know if the wheel is still the viable best option? We take it for granted and we don't ask. And it's not about like if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? It's not that kind of thing. It's more of it's important for us to check in from time to time and see where we're at on that particular journey. And to say, hey, maybe there's something better than the wheel. But if we don't ask the questions, if we don't step into that space, how are we actually going to know whether there might be something better? You might go through the process asking all the questions and then discover in the end, yep, nope, the wheel is still the best option to go. It's not a waste of time to start with the foundation that you've been walking on and see how you can grow within that foundation or grow beyond that foundation. But if you don't ask the question, then you'll never know. So I leave this with you guys today. Ask yourself the question, why am I still doing these things? And it's not, why am I still doing these things? It's, why am I still doing these things? Be curious. I would say that the fault of the Hierophant, one of the faults of the Hierophant, is that the Hierophant just takes everything at face value. The Hierophant is knowledgeable, but I would not necessarily say that the Hierophant is wise. Why do I say that? How is that distinction being made? Because the Hierophant knows a lot of things based on an experience that they have created by rote. It is something that they don't have to think about. Sometimes it's even on autopilot. You can be present within the ritual itself and it can have meaning, but it's not encouraging you to grow beyond the ritual itself because the ritual is the point. I'm going to say to you, ask yourself, why do I do this in this way? Why am I having this experience in this way? So I hope that has given you some fun food for thought around your transformational experience. Of course, trying a good old vine Zinfandel if you are checking out the Hierophant in any kind of way, I feel is going to be a great way to go. And if you're ever in Phoenix, Arizona, check out the Greedy Hamster. I guarantee you, if nothing else, you're going to get an incredible laugh at the clever, irreverent names. Trish said something about these are our wines against humanity, and I laughed my ass off. So here is to Wines Against Humanity. Hello all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive. OMG, how many times do we have to go around and around the merry-go-round over the same frickin' issues? Sometimes it feels like we're going crazy, right? You're like, I'm self-aware. I've done the work. I've put in the time. I've done the therapy. I've made amends. I've forgiven. I don't have resentment around this. Why am I visiting this stupid frickin' cycle yet again in my life? You're not alone. It happens to all of us. And before I pull cards for this, I'm going to say to you, life is sporadic. We live in a world where we're told that everything is very linear, but it's really not. That's a lie. Linearity keeps us limited. Sometimes it gives us structure. Sometimes we need it in order to be able to kind of know where to start or know what the next stage or phase or step is. But in general, life itself just doesn't work that way. I often say we can go around a mountain 57 different times, seeing the same vista over and over again, but from a different level. You know, sometimes you go up one more level and you're seeing it from a slightly higher vantage point. Sometimes you go back down the mountain, revisiting somewhere that you've already been, and you see it from a different perspective. So don't beat yourself up. I get that you're feeling like, because it happens to me all the time. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm here again? Really? So let's get to this reading and get you some answers. I wrote out 3 questions that are going to help us really get to the heart of the matter on what's going on. And I'm pulling cards from the Ember and Aura Tarot. Why is this pattern showing up in my life again? What do I need to understand about it? And the caveat with that is, what do I need to understand about it so I don't have to frickin' deal with it again, right? That's how it feels. So what do you need to understand about it? The moon. With the moon, things are not always what they seem. And I feel like this particular pattern is coming up and coming through for you because there's a part of your shadow side that is coming up for air. It's not that you haven't dealt with this part of the shadow, it's that this part of the shadow never felt safe enough to come up for air until now. You had to do the work that you did beforehand in order to feel like there's enough room, there's enough safe space, there's enough awareness and understanding so that that part of you, that shadow side of you that is so afraid to be judged, doesn't say, I'm going to just keep quiet and I'm going to continue to be poisonous. Not intentionally, but I'm just going to continue to leak my poison and my toxin into your system because I don't really want you to see me. I don't want you to judge me. I don't want to be kicked out. I want to be a part of the team. And so I feel like when we are talking about this particular pattern and cycle, what you want to be really considering and looking at is, how much have I grown as a result of the work that I've done? And now that I've sat with that I've integrated that work, that I've let it process and percolate and bubble and become a part of me, what is left? What is that next level so that I can fully grasp it, fully understand it, and find completion around it? I feel like that's really important. And it's interesting because the moon is an 18, which breaks down into a 9. 9 is endings, completions, resolutions. Also, 9 has the energy of service. And I feel like this is also coming up for you as well because you've done the work, but I feel like a lot of the work, yes, it was about you and it was for you, but really it was so that you could interact with others in a more productive way, in an easier way. Now I feel like this is coming through because you want to be able to work with yourself and to communicate with yourself in those productive and easier ways. So I feel that there's a component of this as well that is connected to how you are viewing yourself, the words you're using, the inner monologue, you know, that's going on, you know, the recordings that are playing in your brain and in your mind. Some of them are there, they're good. Some of them are not so good. So this is why this is coming up. The moon always sheds a different light. I want to say it's a gentler light than the sunlight, but it's light nonetheless. And so it's giving you a different perspective on what's coming up and coming through. Okay, so if I sat with this pattern and listened, what would it tell me about my current choices? When it comes to my own patterns and cycles, when I ask myself this question, I always kind of cringe, to be honest. I'm like, ooh, what are you going to tell me? What is it that I have to see that I've been blind to? Be kind, be gentle, be nice, guides. Ooh, we have the Empress. So I'm feeling here that the pattern is showing up in your life and it wants to say to you, this is what you can be. You have all of the resources that you need at your fingertips, but you gotta do the work. You know, it's interesting. The Empress, she's about creativity. She's about sexuality, sensuality. She's about abundance. She's about sovereignty as well, being in your own sovereign space. She's a lover. But here's the interesting thing about the Empress. The Empress says, what's mine is yours. But she's not the person that's going to get up and she's not my grandmother. My grandmother, whenever we walked through the door, she always showed her love through food. And so whether you were hungry or not, she was getting up, she was going into the fridge, she was pulling out the eggs to make you scrambled eggs, or she was going to whip up some pancakes, or she was going to make your favorite meal, cabbage rolls, or whatever it was. And that was the way that she did things. The Empress is not my grandmother. The Empress is the woman who says, hey, come on in, welcome. Mikase Sukasa, let me just show you around really quickly. You know, here's the kitchen, here's the bathroom, and I'm socializing. I'm going to be over here, playing, whatever, mahjong, and you can come and join me, and feel free to help yourself to whatever is there. She's not going to get up and make you scrambled eggs to show you love. Her love is help yourself. And I feel like that's what's really coming up and coming through here when we are talking about this pattern and cycle, is you have all the resources at your fingertips. You have everything you could possibly want, but you've got to do the work. Now, some of you, I can hear you already. I have done the work. It's looking at it from an entirely different perspective. The Empress is confident. The Empress looks at it and she's a bit, I want to say she's a little bit once removed about it. She observes what's transpiring. She looks at something and she says, oh yeah, I used to do that, and now I do this instead. So I feel like this is also encouraging you to have a little bit of detachment around what this is, so that you can step back and see the bigger picture of this particular pattern and cycle that is coming up and coming through. And finally, I'm really drawn in this card, such a pretty card, to the roses that are on her gown. And roses have thorns. The rose is still beautiful. The rose still smell, what does Shakespeare say? Does the rose not still smell sweet? Right? It has thorns, and it's still beautiful in all the things. So I feel like this cycle and pattern is also coming up to encourage you to give yourself permission to be human, to accept that, my mom has the saying, I love you warts and all. It's accepting the fact that you're not going to be perfect, for you perfectionists out there. You're not going to get it right all the time based on other people's measuring sticks. You can't look at that. What's going on for you? What is right for you? This pattern and cycle is encouraging you to stand on your own. Independence. Less about the self-doubt and more about the confidence. I have everything I need. It doesn't mean that everything is perfect. It doesn't need to be. The point is, it's all there. What do I want to do with it? How do I want to spend my time? And our third question. This is a really interesting reading. I like this. What is the best action I can take to healing it for good, to releasing it and healing it for good? I have to say, on my particular journey, I have been in a situation for the last 3 or 4 years where it's been nothing but this evaluation of patterns and cycles, cutting out patterns and cycles, turning myself into a pretzel over these stupid frickin' patterns and cycles. And when I moved here to Phoenix, I really believed and felt at the core of me that I was leaving so much of that behind. And I've been here now for 5 months. It's almost 6 months that I've been here. And I'm noticing that some of these other old patterns are creeping back in. They're coming in and showing up differently, but the core of them is still there. And what I am learning about all of this, and that's one of the reasons why I chose this reading, because I'm going through it too. I'm right there with you in the trenches. What I notice about this as well is I struggle because I think all the time that I'm supposed to just check it off the list. I've done the stuff and it's gone. It's done. I don't have to think about it. We're ever evolving, and wherever you go, there you are. That can be used in a negative connotation, but it can also be used in a positive connotation. What is it from my previous experiences and pattern breaking did I learn from that I need to just be more cognizant about applying to this? It's not that I didn't learn the lesson or that the pattern is saying you failed. The pattern is saying you need to adjust. You're a new version of yourself now. And so this is coming up because it's going to help strengthen that new version of you. And it's also helping you to get to know that new version of you and to be able to put your best foot forward at all times. Bring in the A game. Okay, so what is the best action that I can take to healing and releasing this pattern for good? Justice. Being completely 150% truthful and honest with yourself. Justice is dispassionate, right? Lady Justice does not bring feeling and emotion into her choices. Lady Justice says, show me the facts. Did you break the law? Yes or no? And if the answer is yes, to what degree did you break it? And based on that equation, here is the punishment. Here is what is going to transpire. So I feel like healing it for good, kind of like what I was saying before, it's about taking a dispassionate view, stepping back, being more discerning, being the observer. Through that process, you find balance, you find truth, but you also find balance. Lady Justice tries to balance the scales to the best of her ability. Do we always get it right? No, we don't, but it's not the purpose of it. It's not about getting this right. It's about learning what it's here to show you. And doing that from a bit of a dispassionate view allows you to see all sides of the picture. And then you can really sit in to each side of that picture or that situation or that circumstance. Feel into it. And that's where you can bring some of the emotion. But it's sometimes I'm a passionate person, so I get it. I'm passionate about so many freaking things that sometimes my passion, my heart, my fire gets in the way. It's not a bad thing, but left unchecked, or when I'm, always coming from that place, maybe I'm not listening to something. Maybe I'm going so fast ahead that I'm not paying attention to what's around me and I'm missing the mark, or I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, right? So justice is coming up and coming through to say, remove the passion, be dispassionate about it when you're observing it, so that you can then be intentional about reinserting the passion in those areas, ways, perspectives that you're seeing it as, so that you can then get the full picture. And then you're clear in, okay, I see now why it's showing up and I know how I can release it. It's dispassion for a moment. It's detachment for a moment, and then intentional reassertion based on how you are resonating with it. But you got to take the time and you got to take that step to once remove yourself and give yourself the space to feel into it. Do I resonate or do I not resonate with this? Those pieces of information are the gold nuggets. That's what's so valuable. And that's what gets you to the ultimate conclusion, your ultimate desire, which is, I don't want to have to relive this anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done with it and let's move on. I'm ready for the next lesson. I'm ready for the next level. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. So just know that you are not alone when you are going through this, because I am so right there. And even though I'm saying this and I'm pulling these cards for you and I'm being the Hierophant here, I'm being the guide in this situation, I'm also having to take my own words as well and apply them. So, Cello, it is a Black Feather Couture, Divining a VIP Lifetime, and we are doing our Angel Connections segment. This is a segment that is all for my fellow starseeds, light workers, sensitives, healers, empaths. Get into my happy place and channel one of the archangels. You're going to pull a feather from the feather jar and let's see what the energies want us to know. We are talking about the psychic realm. Color is yet another tool that can help us. This is really all about going beyond the predictiveness of readings. For those of you who've been following me for a really long time, you know that this is where I channel one of the archangels and get a message for us for whatever is going on in our now. And for those of you who are new to me and have not experienced this before, this segment is kind of interesting. The way that I read is I channel. I go into a channeled space where I kind of, the me that's in this body gets put to the side, and an archangel comes through me and uses my body to speak through me. And so often the words that you would normally hear me use are a little bit different. My tone changes, and they always give messages of comfort, support, guidance. Sometimes the arcs will give us a bit of predictive information, but mostly it's commentary on what's going on in the now. On occasion, and this is part of being a channeler, I can set the intention and say, okay, this is who I want to talk to. Please, come forward. We would be grateful for your guidance. And sometimes they don't come through with the person that I've requested. Sometimes they come through in a different way. And sometimes it's my counsel of truth that comes through. So I just want to set expectation today. I have no idea who's going to be coming through, but I'm feeling a little, there's a little buzz in the air. And usually when there's a little buzz in the air, it means something a little bit unexpected is going to happen. So let's just sort of see what goes on. I always like to say, be open to the adventure. No expectation, be open to the adventure. So I have my bag of angel feathers, and this is angels and words connected to the angels, the words that the angels gave to me many, many years ago now. And we're going to just sort of see what's going on. Okay, joy. Joy is our word. So I'm going to do some deep breathing, go into my happy place, and see who wants to come through for us from the archangels to give us a message about joy. Greetings, dear ones. I am honored to be coming forth today from the Archangelic realm to commune with all of you. I am Archangel Haniel, and I am known as the Archangel of the Moon. And you would not normally associate the moon with joy, but I offer to you a different perspective. This time on your planet is one of great disruption, and you are in the disruption that we have been speaking to you about for many years. We were not sure whether humanity as a whole was going to arrive at this point. But you have, and we are joyful at this happenstance. We understand that from your perspective, being in the disruption can be very disconcerting. You are exploring and experiencing different frequency shifts within your physical bodies, as well as some mental disruption. Along with that comes triggering of your emotions, and the emotions can be very this and that, very up and down. We also understand that for those of you who are tuned in to your energy and frequency, and you understand that you are beings of energy that go beyond the physical body, your energy levels are being affected as well. And it can feel very much like you are in a blender, in the dryer on spin cycle, or perhaps the washing machine on spin cycle, for you do not feel that you are on solid ground. And I would offer to you that how
people feel and view the moon is a perfect analogy for what is transpiring. Many seek out the sun because it is truth and joy. It is the motivation, the growth. It is what makes life begin on the planet. But the moon has its role as well. The moon regulates all of your bodies of water. And without water, life cannot survive. You can survive on a little bit of water, but who wishes to survive? We wish for you to thrive in your life. And it is common knowledge, but perhaps not the kind of knowledge that people have integrated, that you are all in your physical bodies made up of mostly water. And therefore, it makes sense that if the moon is in charge of the ebbs and the flows of your oceans, lakes, rivers, and streams, then it is also having that magnetic pull on you. And we would offer to you that you consider that while the sun gives life, the moon gives rest. It is restorative. It does shed its own light, but it is a softer light that comes forward. And it is this moonlight energy that I come forth to offer you today, to bring you a different perspective on joy. Because of the disruption and the chaos and the difficulty in standing on solid ground on all areas and levels of your life, I offer to you the peace that comes from the gentle moonlight. Yes, there is an ebb and a flow, and that can feel disconcerting itself if you decide to take control of it, if you feel that you must know all of the details of what will transpire within your day to day. But if you were to release control and allow yourself, your heart, your soul to be swept in the tide and taken on the surface of the water, there will be an ease to your journey. Many of you on the planet, and it is no fault of your own, for it is how you have been taught, feel that it is up to you to control through power, through knowledge, through heavy action and work, what your experiences are. But this has been taught to you to keep you unaware. And much of this shift that you find yourself in is removing this fallacy. You are beings of light. You are sparks of the divine, which means, dear ones, that you have all of the wisdom and knowledge that Source does. And it is all within you. Being in the ebb and the flow, being moved by the tides, being moved by the magnetism of the moon, means that there are fewer things that you must consciously think about and orchestrate. And that frees up your time and your energy to create, and to allow life to take you where you have already asked for it to take you. This may seem confusing. It may not make sense to you, for there is a great deal of pressure when things are in a jumble to bring order to the jumble. And we offer to you that the jumble is exactly what it needs to be to serve you and to serve humanity in your highest and best. This will bring about the highest and best outcome. And it is important that you understand that the light that you all live in, the light that you seek, the light that you have been working to elevate, to make stronger, to bring to the surface of you, it has won. There is victory. It is already your truth. It has already happened. And where you may not be witnessing this with your physical human eyes quite yet, it is important that you go into the third eye, into your knowing, connecting to that soul wisdom and soul truth, because that is the only truth that is of relevance. That truth allows you to stay connected to the vision that you are creating throughout this chaos. This vessel always speaks of the importance of the chaotic stage or phase of any creation. You cannot have a creation without the chaos. You cannot have one without the other, for this is a part of this planet and its duality. It is part of its magic and its beauty. And shifting your perspective to see all of this shift and change as part of the process, a necessary expansion that occurs, you will then be in the joy of the process and the joy of the creation itself. And so we in the Archangelic Collective encourage you at this time to see all that you are witnessing with your physical eyes as a vehicle to more joy. We do not suggest that the challenge, the hardship, the misrepresentation of truth that is on the planet at this time needs to be celebrated, or that you need to feel joyful about these difficult circumstances. But instead, we offer to you that these are symptoms. These are coming up to the surface, being exposed in the sunlight and magnetized in the ebbs and flows of the moonlight, so that you can transmute these things that are no longer desirable in your experience into a more joyful expansion of your vision. This vessel likes to say that if you do not know a thing is broken, how can you then know to fix it? This is the phase that you find yourselves in. You have been kept from various truths for many centuries, and now is the time when this topples. And believe it or not, you all have chosen in your etheric body states to be the topplers, to participate in this change. For it is the change that is bringing about the joy. And if you choose to open yourself to this chaos so that you can transmute it, then you will have won. The victory will be yours. And we do not imply that there is a battle or a war going on that must be won or lost, for that is yet another dynamic that is being dissolved on your planet. For we do not always need a winner and a loser, but we need harmony for all. And this experience that you are all participating in now brings the opportunity for that harmony. And the moonlight can provide soothing to the soul as you are doing the work of reharmonizing the planet, reharmonizing humanity, and building a future for this new earth energy. It has been a wonderful experience to connect with you all. And please know that we in the Archangelic Collective are with you. We are here to support and uplift you. While we have not incarnated in the body and do not fully cognize the experiences that you have being in physical form, we have been with you every step of the way. And we know what you think, we know what you feel, and we have deep compassion for this truth. And we wish for you to call upon us when you need that extra support, for we will carry you on our wings of love. We will give you beautiful visions of the moon to soothe your soul. I step back now and give you time to ponder this message and take what resonates with you and leave all the rest behind, for you are walking your own path and we support you. Be well. Honey Owl. She's always gentle in her message and gentle in her delivery. And we are grateful to her for coming through for us today. That is our angel connections for this segment. It has been wonderful to connect with you in this way, and we will see you next time. Transform well. This is a segment that is all for my fellow starseeds, light workers, sensitives, healers, empaths. Get into my happy place and channel one of the archangels.